Welcome to Underexposed, unfiltered stories from the Carolina photo scene. I'm your host, longtime Columbia photojournalist Jeff Blake. Every few weeks, I sit down with the photographers who are shaping the way this city sees itself. This week, I have Columbia, South Carolina photojournalist Travis Bell. This is Underexposed.
South Carolina, underexposed. We came to interview the camera holders. Got flashed to get past the quotas. Doing all we can.
Welcome to Underexposed, the podcast that shines a light on South Carolina photographers. Please subscribe. It helps people find the podcast. Travis Bell, how are you doing, my friend?
I'm doing great. How about you?
I'm doing good. So before we dive into these photos, let's talk about Travis Bell, the person, for a minute. You grew up in a professional photographer household from 1969 to 1999. Your dad, Bobby, owned and operated a Bell studio in Lancaster, South Carolina. My dad was in the carpet business. What was it like growing up with a father in the photography business?
Well, to put it in perspective, if you go to my childhood home in Lancaster, there are almost 100 photo albums of me growing up. And
Wow.
my dad photographed the good and the bad. I have one album that shows me getting my Eagle Scout. And then a few pages later, you see where I wrecked my car. So, and my father had a really fascinating military career.
Really? What branch?
Air Force.
Okay.
He processed the film and made prints off the U-2 spy planes during the Cuban Missile Crisis.
Oh, wow.
And you know, they would make those early morning runs out of Louisiana, the Air Force Base there. The planes would come back. Dad would process that film, make the prints. There was about a half dozen photographers as part of that team. And then they would fly those prints to DC, where President Kennedy and his team would look at those photographs.
Oh, that's amazing.
So, yeah, he loved to document. Christmas morning, he would have a still camera, a video camera, and a tape recorder going to document everything. It was crazy.
And how did that influence your desire to become a photographer?
I did like the documenting. I fell in love with it in college. I started working for the Spartanburg Herald-Journal, photographing Friday night football, and I like kind of going out and documenting. I really enjoyed that. So it definitely had an influence on just, my dad had an appreciation for history, and I definitely learned a lot from that.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that's really cool. He was kind of the visual historian of Lancaster, wasn't he?
He was. He really. It's amazing, Jeff, because he really saw. He understood that one day people would want to see these things, and I have a collection of 5 photographers' work, including my dad's, about 80,000 film negatives, and each week I release a photo from that collection. It's called the Lancaster Archive. And his collection is a big part of that, and he loved to document. He really understood that there would be a day when people in Lancaster would want to see these things, and sure enough, they love looking back and seeing all the history.
That's great. Well, let's dive right into your photos here. Pulling up our first photo, we got a picture of looks like Shaq carrying Junior on a racetrack. Talk about what's going on in this photo.
Yeah, this is definitely a top 10 assignment for me of all time. I always loved NASCAR, loved the NBA, and I love the way Dale Jr. Is preserving history. He's a real big history buff with NASCAR. And this was shot for ABC television. Shortly after Shaq retired, he did a TV show called Shaq Versus, where he would challenge cooks and Olympic swimmers, and he challenged Dale Jr. to a race in Charlotte. This is at one of the tracks. It's not at Charlotte Motor Speedway, but it's just down the road, a little bit smaller track in the Charlotte area. And so this was a made-for-TV production. Let me mute a couple. Give me 1 second, please. This was a made-for-TV production. And so they raced, and of course, Junior killed him. Shaq couldn't quite keep up.
Sure.
And when they got out of the car, they celebrated. Shaq picked up Junior to celebrate. And, for those photographers out there, there's a lot to say about relationships and other photographers that are working that day. There were 3 other, videographers, and I've known those guys for, 20 years, dating back to when I shot the NBA a lot. And, you get there and it's nice because those guys. And we worked out a deal where we kind of established some lanes.
Yep.
And I checked with the director and said, hey, is it okay if I end up in the shot a little bit, if I go in with a wide angle? And he was fine with that. He said, hey, that'll look cool. It'll look big. We'll have a guy going in, to make a shot. And so I established kind of a lane, if Shaq does something crazy, which he usually does.
Yep.
And the other guys I knew as videographers, we all just established kind of lanes. So if you're a photographer, it's great when you can work with people that you've known for years and everybody can work together. It's what the director being open-minded and then knowing those guys that were there doing the video really helped make this shot.
Yeah. Yeah. TV productions are, they want everything just right. So, you could really piss off a director by ruining a shot, especially something like this that really can't be recreated.
A quick note about the kid. Do you see on the left, you see that AQ? That's short for Shaq. Is obviously it's his last letters of his name. That is what was called that day the Shaq hatch. Shaq is 7'1", 300 pounds, and the guys that were providing the cars, they realized, okay, Shaq cannot slide in like a traditional NASCAR driver.
Right.
He's too big. They had to make all these modifications, so they made the Shaq hatch.
Oh, that's funny.
And so he had to climb in from the top.
Oh, goodness. Yeah. All right, well, let's take a look at our next photo here. So we got a Dawn Staley in a huddle. Let's talk about this photo.
Yeah, this was fun. I'll tell you, Dawn Staley is a photographer's dream. And it's because, she played on a really good team at Virginia in college. She played in the WNBA, coached the WNBA. She was an Olympian and coached the Olympics. I mean, her career, she's been amazing. And what that translates to with photography is she's very open-minded about cameras. Whereas some coaches, they might walk into a room and say, gosh, well, what are all these cameras doing here? It does not faze her at all. It's really great to photograph her. One of the things that athletics wants at USC is to show
You were shooting this for the athletics department?
Right. Yeah. I was shooting this for Gamecocks athletics. And they really like seeing pictures where the coach is teaching the players as part of the recruiting effort. So the thought is, hey, listen, if you come here, you're going to learn from the best. And so they want to see those type of pictures, but you can't just run over and start shooting a huddle without permission, even if you're the team photographer.
Right.
So what I proposed to Coach Staley was, I said, hey, listen, if the team is up by a certain number of points during the next to the last timeout and then the last timeout, would it be okay for me to come in and get a few shots for maybe 30 seconds of you talking to the team? And she okayed that.
Oh, wow.
And a lot of coaches might not do that. But again, because she has that experience of being around all those cameras in the Olympics and the WNBA, she was really cool with it.
Nice. Yeah, she is really a dream to work with as far as coaches go, and her relationship to the media. A lot of the coaches that have come through here have been, especially on the men's side, have been a little more difficult. But she's always been a dream.
She is. She's first class.
Yeah. All right. So we have a really unique perspective of a football catch. Who is on offense and who is on defense here?
Oh, sure. Yeah, this is USC is on offense trying to make a catch, and then Kayvon Wallace with Clemson is on defense. And this is something I've really worked on for years. You know how this is, Jeff. You shoot sports. You know that when you go to these events, we all kind of get put into the same area. It's like 30 of us in this area, or in this corner.
A lot of you will get the same exact shot.
Right. And so you're getting the same thing. And one of the things I tried to do over the years was to get up high. And one of the things that changed that was when that 1D Mark IV came out, Canon's 1D Mark IV was 16 megapixels.
Yep. That was huge back then.
It was. And that changed everything for me, because all of a sudden I could go up high and still have a good looking picture. I wasn't having to crop in so much. I think this was shot with maybe a 2X on a 400 millimeter, so it equates to an 800 millimeter lens. And this was up on the press box. If you're familiar with Williams-Brice Stadium, it's almost up in the lights. That's how high not the press box, excuse me, not the press box, the camera deck, I should say. I was up on the camera deck that is up high in the lights there. and they came down right in front there, just right as close as possible to that side of the field.
Mhm.
And if you look, you can kind of see, if you look at his shoes, if you look at the Gamecock player's shoes, you see how his top one is a lot bigger than the bottom one. He's kind of lean. It really worked out well because he leaned towards the camera.
Yeah.
So it looks like you're in a helicopter. I'm not in a
Mhm.
helicopter,
Right.
but it looks like you are, because the way he leaned over towards the camera in that shot.
Mhm.
So,
You're kind of shooting straight down. Are you a little nervous leaning over the railing there with the 400?
yeah, and that's a great question. Yeah, I always I have, what I'll do is I'll have the strap, for the lens. I'll put another camera strap, and then I'll put a safety wire around that top rail,
Oh wow.
just in case something would happen. I
That would
remember
kill somebody.
Yeah, it would. It would. You've got to, when you get up high, anytime you're getting up high in those catwalks for basketball, or up
Mhm.
real high on the camera deck, you want to think about the safety. And I take the lens hood off. I don't even want to take a chance at
Yep. Those
the
things
lens hood
fall
would
off.
fall. I
Yep.
know, in the 90s, I know you're familiar with Atlanta. You grew up in Atlanta. So in the 90s, there was a guy shooting the NASCAR race. It had a 600 millimeter, and he was on top of the tower there near the start finish line, and his 600 dropped.
Oh no.
And thankfully for him and everybody involved, it hit that narrow part of the aisle, I guess that's to say, that the steps, that aisle that takes everybody up. It hit in between the stands. Of course, it shattered, but it didn't hurt anybody.
Wow. Yeah.
Because if it had, boy, his career probably would have been over.
Mhm. Right. And that would have restricted everybody else's access for a long time in all sports.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah. Well, that's a great angle on a peak action moment.
Oh, thank you.
Yeah. Okay. So looks like, is this a fisheye here with Spurrier?
I think that was like maybe like that. What is it, that 12 to 24 or something? I think it's probably around like 15 millimeters.
Okay.
And I think it was an older one. What I learned years ago was, if you're getting called in to do this shot, if you get the green light to go do it from your client, ideally you want to use a used lens,
Right.
because that, this. I mean, that Gatorade is sticky.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
I'm sure you've made this picture a lot too over the years. This is when Carolina got hot, when Steve Spurrier won, what, I think it was 33 games in 3 years.
Yeah.
Which is insane to think about, just how much success he had.
Mhm.
And this is down in Orlando at I think the Capital One Bowl, I
Okay.
believe. And I got, with a few minutes to go, they came over and said, "Hey, listen, we want to get you over to try to get the Gatorade shot."
Mhm.
And was able to get in. The lens definitely got wet.
Yeah.
I mean, you can almost see it at the top left there. You can see where it's starting to get close to the lens.
Right.
And thankfully, it was a used one, because I'm telling you, if you take a new one, you're going to be sending that thing in to get repaired.
Yep. And with
all that
such a
gator-
wide angle lens, you're probably maybe a foot or two from his face almost.
Yeah, it's really close. It is really tight. And I made sure I understood, just those photographers out there that might be watching, I made sure I understood exactly how close I could get. I said, listen, go in and get it, whatever you need to do. So that's always nice.
Mhm. Yeah, that's a great moment. Well, this is a cool shot. Talk about this.
Yeah, I did weddings for, I started when I was about 14. And this is a wedding at the Citadel.
Okay.
And the groom wanted to go over to, I think this is maybe they call them it's kind of like their dorm at the Citadel. It's a big, I'm sorry, that keeps going off there, Jeff. Let me see if I can turn that down a little bit. This is at the dorm at the Citadel, this famous red and white checkerboard. He said, "Can we go over and try the shot?" And we had a little bit of trouble with the MPs. There's military police on campus there. And he had to talk to them. He pretty much had to beg them. they didn't want to let him in there. And it's actually a good friend of the family. The bride, her dad is a friend of the family, and knew people a long time. And he said, "Can we go over and do some shots?" And I think I went up about 3 levels, about 3 staircases.
Okay.
You get that effect, that kind of checkerboard effect.
Right.
And
it's really clean. There's nothing in the background or anything. It's really amazing. It seems to go on forever.
It does. It's a really, really cool space for photos. And some of those guys at the Post and Courier in Charleston over the years have made some incredible pictures here. Just really, really great stuff. And I know we did this really fast.
Mhm.
After he just pleaded and begged and say he pleaded with the MPs and said, "Hey, it's my wedding day. Can I please get in?" They said, "Okay, you got about 90 seconds." So I flew up the steps, and I think this was shot maybe with, I don't know, maybe a 35 millimeter, if I had to
Mhm.
guess.
Yeah.
But just thinking back, I think it was around 35 millimeter focal length.
Mhm. That's really cool. I love that composition.
Well, thank you.
All right, so this is a interesting photo. Talk about this.
You know what's interesting, Jeff, is that this was in the 90s. This is going way back a good bit. But when I showed this to people in the 90s, they would say, "Oh my gosh, what happened?" And now when people see it, they say, "Oh, wow, this is really great Photoshop."
Yeah.
And so things have changed a little bit, but this is at a game in Clemson, and the two linemen collided.
Mhm.
And for a couple of seconds, that face mask was locked onto the Duke players.
Right.
And this is my favorite sports picture. I just that I've done.
Mhm.
That's it's just a fun moment. And back then, Duke just won the ACC championship Saturday
Okay.
in Charlotte in the football. Back then, they were terrible.
Right.
And I would say, this from doing sports. I mean, there's usually what 40, 50 photographers maybe at a game. Does that sound right?
Yeah. Easy. Probably
There
more.
couldn't have been more than 8 photographers at this game.
Yeah.
It was just nobody there,
Right.
and it was raining. It was just not. It was just a god awful day, and
Mhm.
and then this moment happened. So it's nice to get something nobody else had. If this was a Clemson South Carolina game, probably a couple other guys would have gotten this.
Yeah. At least. Yeah.
But it was nice just to get something that nobody else got.
Yeah. That's really cool. Very surreal photo. All right. So we got looks like Kobe passing over LeBron. Where was this at?
This is out in Houston at the Rockets Arena during the NBA All-Star game.
Okay.
And I had a couple options here. It's interesting. They said, okay, we have some floor spots and we have a couple of seats.
Who
I
are you
said,
shooting for? The NBA or?
This was for ESPN.
Okay.
And they said, okay, we got a couple of floor spots and we've got a couple of seats that which I said, I'd love the seats. Anything to get something different.
Mhm.
And this was kind of the highlight of the game.
Seat being like you were in the stands.
Right. Yeah. See, yeah, up in probably about 15 rows up.
Okay.
They had a seat. They had purchased a couple of seats to put photographers in. I said, gosh, I would love the seat. I'll take that just to get something different.
Yeah.
And there was a moment where Kobe was guarding LeBron James, and Kobe blocked him. He's blocking the shot there.
Oh, okay.
LeBron is putting up the shot, and Kobe just blocked it. And Kobe laughed about it. It was, like I said, it was kind of the highlight of the game, but LeBron didn't like it too much.
Yeah.
So,
I bet.
yeah, it was fun. So anytime, basketball is fun. You know this too. But I love basketball because you feel like you can, at high school, college games, maybe sometimes in pros, you've got some options to move around a little bit.
Mhm.
And you can also set up those remote cameras around the arena because, football, they're going to a really large area. But with basketball, you know where they're going every time.
Right.
And that's nice to be able to do that.
Mm-hmm. What year was this? Do you remember?
I think this is 2013.
Okay. So LeBron had been in the NBA for a while at that point.
Yeah, I think he'd probably been in about 10 years.
Okay. Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. Then when did Kobe pass away? Do you remember?
Gosh, was that 2018 or 2019?
Yeah.
Something like that. One is somewhere
5 or 6
around.
years after this one. Wasn't too long after this.
Yeah.
Yeah. That's fascinating. That's a great photo. All right. Talk about this one. Is this at the USC natatorium?
Yep. This is at USC. This is, I believe it's Julia Vincent. She's a South African swimmer who came over and swam. Excuse me, she's a diver, I should say. Not a she swims, but she's a diver.
She has to swim after she dives.
That's right. That's right. She has to swim. Exactly. So she's incredible. She made the Olympic team for South Africa. And if you ever go over and photograph swimming and diving here in Columbia over at USC, usually there's 1 or 2 Olympians or potential Olympians in the building.
Yeah.
If you just look, it's really amazing the talent that you're around. These people are really good. These swimmers are just amazing athletes. And she is spinning furiously in this picture. She is. You can see her hair and the water coming off the top of her. her ponytail there. She is spinning just at like 30 miles an hour. If I had to get just really intense. And she happened to do a few like at a certain spot where that flag was right behind her.
Yeah.
But if you go to those events, look. Sometimes if you're a photographer out there, look and see who's there. Sometimes you're photographing somebody who's heading to the Olympic trials or someone who's already been to the Olympics.
Yeah. In my experience with university indoor swimming pools and natatoriums is that the lighting is pretty terrible and the backgrounds are always pretty terrible. So it's nice that you're able to line this up with a cool background.
Oh yeah, yeah. Now, Jeff, what's your favorite sport to shoot? What do you enjoy?
I like football.
Nice.
Yeah, I think that's my favorite. And baseball. I like baseball's my favorite sport. It's a little slow to photograph, but yeah, I like being in the middle of the action for sure.
Absolutely.
Yeah. All right. So I've seen this photo around. I've seen this on restaurant walls and stuff, I believe.
Yeah. So this is when the Gamecocks honored the Wounded Warrior program. They wore these jerseys that had all these great, names on the back, and I saw them when they came out, and I just sat there and prayed. I said, "Please allow just a few seconds without the smoke, so we can see these jerseys, the back of them, because this from photographing it. That smoke is really thick for a while.
It is. Yeah.
You get that first few seconds, and all of a sudden that smoke is just everywhere. And then you hope for those last few seconds with something like this, where you see those names. And I think this was used a little bit like in the locker room for a while, just to kind of inspire the players. But it was all for Wounded Warrior. It was all for them to help the military. It may have been maybe Military Appreciation Day or something like that.
Yeah.
But I'm not sure what they called it. But that was it's fun to get those last few seconds with that smoke dying down and get the jerseys.
Right. And this probably doesn't apply to you because you were photographing for the university, but for the longest time, we weren't able to self prints or make prints of photos where you could see the player's name on where they're identifiable, where you could see their name on the back of their jersey, or you could identify the player and whatnot.
Oh, that's right. Yeah, that's right. Absolutely. You had to be careful about that stuff.
So you would have been able to sell this print if you had wanted to?
I believe so. Yeah, because I think you could. Yeah.
It was always confusing to me.
The only concern might be with the Gamecock logo there. That might be a concern, but I mean,
okay,
yeah, but I think this would be it definitely would be an easier sell compared if it had their names on the back. You're right.
Yeah. Nice. Where is this at? I see the Gamecocks online. So is this at Colonial Life?
Well, this is some fun history. This is the last basketball game ever played at the old Carolina Coliseum.
Okay. I was going to say I don't think the catwalk goes over the rim like that.
Yeah, I missed that place. Yeah, because when I'm not sure if they planned it, but on both ends of the court, if you're up in the catwalks, when you lean over, you're looking straight down over that hoop.
Okay, that's awesome.
And it is a beautiful thing, man. It is a sight to behold because almost every time if you're up high like that, there's a pitcher.
Yeah.
Because they're looking up every time. They're looking up at the ball. They're looking to see if the shot went in. They're looking to get a rebound. It really is a great place to photograph basketball. You cannot do this in Colonial Life Arena. Right. You could if you had a past of working in the circus. If you were, if you were really brave, but I wouldn't dare do it. You'd have to go out on this little narrow beam, and I would never do that. But with the old Coliseum, you just look right over the top there.
Oh wow!
And this was there was a scheduling conflict. The men were playing over at Colonial Life Arena that night, and they somehow, I guess, they double booked it.
Oh, okay.
And so this is the last game they ever played at Carolina Coliseum.
Gotcha. Okay. I came in the late 90s, so no, I came in 2005. So at that point, they weren't using it for basketball at all. So yeah. Yeah,
and this is another case too where you want to be real careful. Take the lens hood off. There's safety. I'm holding the camera, but I've also got safety cable going through my camera strap. Just if you ever do this as a photographer, you already know all this. You're a pro, but I'm speaking to the photographers that might be watching this. You don't have anything. I even check like my pockets to make sure I'm not
Right.
getting any holes. Like that, it started to, you don't want anything, even like a pen, an ink pen could be a disaster if
Yep.
it fell on one of these girls' eyes. You just want to be real careful about and keep the safety in mind.
Right. For sure. All right. So we got a real wide shot at the Final Four here. Talk about this one.
Yeah, 2017, I had a chance to go with the team and photograph the Final Four. I never thought they'd make it. They got really hot. They had a good season. They had a great season, but man, did they get hot. They just, I thought they might win a couple of tournament games, but I never thought they'd go to Phoenix that year for the Final Four.
Yeah.
And these are really fun because they're playing in the Phoenix Cardinals NFL stadium.
Right.
And it just makes
huge.
it's massive. I mean, you've got this 90-foot court on a football field, and it's sold out.
Yeah.
And just the energy there, and the color of everything, just kind of a pageantry to the whole thing that happens, and it's just to watch. One moment I remember is just coming out and walking behind the team as they went out to the court the first time, and just to see their expressions. Because the court is elevated. They actually come in and build it on top of the football field.
Okay.
Top of that area there. And so you're walking up, and that's even more intimidating to the players, So it was interesting to watch the players react to all this, and then to see the coaches try to get them just to calm down. If you've ever watched Hoosiers, there's that scene where Gene Hackman is trying to get his team to just calm down, calm their nerves, because they have traveled to a huge arena. And he comes out and he asks one of his players to measure the court. And he says, "Okay, guys, it turns out this is the same size court you've been playing on all year."
Right.
And that was something that you can watch these coaches, the psychology. They're trying to just get their players to just calm down. And just because it's intimidating to walk onto a basketball court in an NFL arena.
Right. And was this shot with a remote?
I think that was just, no, it was not. Just with like a really wide, like a 14 millimeter, I believe.
Yeah, you're just hand holding it and shooting it.
Yeah, yeah.
Okay, very cool. All right, so we have Michael Jordan and looks like a Hornets rookie. What's going on here?
Oh, yeah. Yeah, this was interesting. You're always trying to look for anything different. And I was going to be photographing Michael Jordan when I was on staff with the Rock Hill Herald. They would assign us to go shoot Hornets games. And I photographed Jordan a couple of times, but I started thinking, okay, does he do anything different? Can I look for something different? And I talked to a guy at the Chicago Tribune who photographed Michael Jordan all the time. And he said, "Travis, Michael is the master of intimidating these rookies." And he said, Michael will, when there's some kind of action going on away, maybe down below the basket, he'll be out on the 3-point line just talking trash to some rookie. And it's hard to do this, Jeff, because we're trained to follow the ball and follow the action.
Right.
And Scottie Pippen had he drew a foul, drive into the basket. And so all the attention, all the cameras, everything's on Scottie Pippen and his reaction to getting fouled. And he's about to go to the free throw line. Well, sure enough, there's Jordan out on the 3-point line away from everything. And if you look, you see he's grabbing Anthony Goldwire, who's a rookie. And I can't repeat what he was saying to him. It wasn't nice at all. So he is giving him some words, man. He's basically telling him, "Listen, you will not score on me. You will not drive past me. You're not going to do anything." And sure enough, Michael just shut him down.
Yeah.
But imagine, Michael was about 10 years older than Anthony Goldwire. So Goldwire grew up, idolizing Michael Jordan.
Right.
He has made this team. He's made the Charlotte Hornets team. He's actually getting playing time, coming out, and there's Michael coming in, grabbing his jersey and just saying, "Listen, dude, you're not going to do a thing against me today."
And he didn't.
No, Jordan, he really intimidated those guys. He was good at that.
So we got a wide shot of USC women's basketball.
Yeah,
it's like we're on the road at NC State.
Yeah. This is in Raleigh, and this is another one. With the Shaq versus and the Dale Earnhardt Jr. pitcher, talked about relationships. I've been trying this shot for years. I always thought it'd be fun to get a loose ball with the ball coming towards the camera. You can see how close the camera. You see the red line at the bottom. That's the baseline there at the bottom.
Mhm.
With how close it is, and the guy, the TV network guy, known him for 20 years. We used to shoot the Hornets together back in the day, and so he was comfortable with me being just right beside him. He's right beside the basket down low, sitting in a chair, with wheels on it. Obviously, he's got a chair there. He needs to be able to move around, and he knows that I understand the space he needs. So, but I just kind of looked at him. He gave me the thumbs up, and then I sat down right beside him and just kind of held the camera on the floor.
Mhm.
And after about 10 years of trying this, finally got this shot.
Right.
So it doesn't always happen the first time. And if you do this, you have to be ready to move very quickly, because these players, sometimes they're doing layups or they're driving down the court.
Mhm.
And if that's the case, you've got to, have yourself ready to move back. Just
Right.
keep that in mind. If to the photographers out there watching this or listening, just always be ready to get yourself out of the way, because the last thing you want is for that player to land on you, and that's to protect them more than as you,
Mhm.
because you would probably be asked to leave if their head landed on the camera. You probably would not be coming back for a while to cover that team.
Right. Here's our the Time Athlete of the Year.
Oh yeah, Asia. Gosh, what an incredible player. Again, I was just looking for something different. This is, I believe, maybe 12 or 15 rows up, not real high, behind the basket with a 300 millimeter,
Mhm.
just focusing on the net, just looking for anything different. Again, I love basketball, because you've got usually there's some empty seats. Not every seat is full at these basketball games. And usually fans are really cool about a photographer being there. I usually make sure I'm not blocking anybody. I would never want to block a kid.
Mhm.
If you're an adult, you don't want to block a kid's view. Make sure you're not doing that. And just, but yeah, just getting up in the stands, going up a few rows up and looking for anything different. That's a free throw shot where she's shooting. And
Okay.
I even had them, Jeff, I had them put her name on the ball.
Nice. Yeah, her last name. Yeah.
That's right.
I didn't catch that. That's funny.
Yeah.
That's a great shot. A real unique look at a free throw shots are so generic, and yeah, it's unique to get something really different from one.
It's amazing how she's developed. I photographed all 4 years of her time at USC. When she came in, if you can imagine just this kind of tall rectangular object running down the court.
Right.
I mean, she just was still growing and developing, and now she is just a world-class athlete. It's unreal what college and the NBA and their training, and just their development people did for her.
Mhm. Yeah, when I photographed almost all of her home high school games at Heathwood Hall, and she was obviously a dominant force in Skeeza, and I thought maybe it was just because she was a head taller than everybody. I didn't realize how good she was until she went to USC, and then she dominated there as well. And she's always seemed like a really cool person. She's always been nice and friendly to everyone I've seen that she speaks to. So it's great to see that she's having such nationwide, worldwide success.
Absolutely.
All right, so it looks like we are on the SEC network set.
Yeah, this is in Charlotte. Excuse me, Jeff. This is in Charlotte at ESPN Studio. And this is the launch of the SEC network. They literally flip the switch and turn the network on.
Okay.
And, for the photographers that might be listening to this, a couple things, if you're ever in studio, there are really two rules. Number one, stay out of the way. Meaning, don't get in the way of the cameras. And number two is don't drop anything. I tape down my lens hood with gaffer tape. I make sure, if I've got a UV filter on the front lens, I make sure it's tight. I check my pockets. You just don't want to make any noise, and you don't want to be in the way. What's interesting about this is they have gone to manless cameras. There's no cameraman on their cameras now.
Okay.
And I'd gotten to know some of these guys for years. So if I wanted to move around to a certain spot in the studio, I would just look over at them. They'd give me the okay with a thumbs up. And now I don't know when these cameras are going to move.
Right.
It's crazy. So what I do now, they're being moved by someone in the control room is doing it now.
Yeah.
And so what I do now is I go down to the control room, I find out who that is, and we walk down. I kind of get a kind of get a zone established where he
Okay.
might move that camera,
Yeah.
because I don't have that cameraman giving me the thumbs up.
Right.
And it's just real important to stay out of the way. You don't want to, would never want that camera coming my way and I bumped it.
Mhm.
I would probably not be invited back for a while
Right.
if I did that. This was fun because usually at these shoots, I'm just looking for little spots I can stay out of the way and get a nice picture of the set. Because this was a fairly big deal with the launch of the network, we actually had stand-ins come in at the desk, and then another stand-in for Brent Musburger there on the left to kind of see how this would look. Everything is choreographed here, from the logos to that camera on the right. It was all choreographed to get a certain look. So when they flip that switch, this is just 10 seconds into that network being turned on.
Right.
And he's Brent Musburger, who's a legendary broadcaster. They wanted him there to come in and welcome everybody to the new SEC network.
That's really cool. All right, looks like we're on ESPNU with Krzyzewski and some other big name coaches.
Yeah, what's funny here, Jeff, is when I tell people that Coach K is a nice guy, they look at me like I have 6 heads. He was an absolute Terminator on the court, but he's the kind of person that you just love to be around. And Coach Williams is the same way. This is Coach Boeheim, Coach K, and Coach Williams on the set of ESPNU in Charlotte. This is during a break, so you see the host on the right.
Okay.
They've done a segment, maybe a 5-minute segment. They're taking a break. They've got about a 2-minute commercial break. That's when I can move in and get some shots like this, looking over the host's shoulder. But Coach K, I'll tell you, he really is one of the nicest guys. He will personally, when this is over, he walked over, shook my hand, and said, "Hey, thank you for what you're doing today."
Yeah.
He's just an exceptionally nice guy. And what he loves to do, they had this thing called a car wash at the Charlotte studio. ESPN has the Charlotte studio. And they call it that because the coaches during ACC Media Day, which is held at ESPN Studio, they are going from room to room or studio to studio and doing different things. They're doing print, radio, live TV, podcasts, really almost all forms of media. They're walking around doing all this. And the thing I notice about Coach K is I'd be with him waiting outside a room to go photograph him to do like a podcast. Well, while he's waiting, he would just randomly walk over to somebody in a cubicle and say, "Hey, how are you? What are you doing here?"
Mm-hmm.
And he has a real genuine interest in people. And he loves to find out what drives people. Like he would just walk over to a girl, or a guy in a cubicle that was working at ESPN's newsroom and say, "How long have you been doing this? And what's your favorite thing to do here?" And it's one of the reasons he's so smart. He understands what drives people, particularly athletes. And one year I was standing with him again outside the room. He was about to go in to do an interview, and his phone rang. And he starts talking about plays. He's like, "Well, we'll run this play. We'll run this screen." And you hear this voice on the other side. And Jeff, he hangs up. And Coach K doesn't really know me. He might know my face. He does not know my name. But I'm standing there with him. And I think he just wanted to tell somebody because he was so excited. He was like a 10-year-old. Puts his hand on my shoulder and says, "You aren't going to believe this." Like, "What, Coach?" He's like, "That was Kobe Bryant." And he and Kobe were working on this play to run for the Olympics that summer.
Oh, wow.
Coach K coached a couple of the Olympic teams, and Kobe had this idea for a play that he wanted to talk to Coach K about. So I love Coach K. I love his approach to life and athletics, and he's just a really great guy.
Nice. All right, so it looks like we got another high angle football shot. This is really cool. You got the SEC logo, and here's this Connor Shaw.
Yeah, and for the photographers out there listening, this is another case where you have to just keep doing it over and over and over and saying a prayer and saying, hopefully this will happen one day. This was done with a remote camera where I just went up on top of the camera deck, mounted the camera. Of course, everything was safety wired, always keep it safe. And so when I was firing my camera on the field, it's also firing that remote camera up high in the camera deck.
You just had it pointed at the SEC logo and in hopes that at some point someone would cross it with the ball.
Yes. Yeah.
Oh, wow.
Like a 300 millimeter up there. This is cropped in a little bit, but yeah, I just put on there, and he finally came across. I mean, I had some where in previous games you have some where all you see is his foot, and it'll just drive me crazy, or you might see his face at the bottom, but he finally came across and let one go right on top of the logo there.
Mm-hmm.
If
As you're taking it on the field, you're also thinking about what it's going to look like from the remote?
Oh, absolutely. Yeah,
Mm-hmm.
you kind of get I kind of got a sense. Like, I think he got close that time, and you hopefully it's in frame and he
Right.
got it. But if you're, for those listening out there, photographers, if you're working for university athletics, they love this kind of thing. They love seeing their logo. They love seeing their sponsorship logos. That is a huge deal
Mm-hmm.
in the world of college athletics. They work really hard to establish these partnerships with these sponsors. And anytime you can show the SEC logo, or maybe there's a bank that sponsors athletics, or there's any kind of business that's a sponsor, they absolutely love that kind of stuff.
Mm-hmm. The shadow really makes it too, with the his feet up in the air and his fingertip just touching the ball, and you can see it in the shadow as well. That's really cool.
Oh, thank you.
All right, so what's going on here?
This is the only picture I have ever had a dream about and then went out and shot it. I don't know if you had anything like that happen where you dreamed about a picture.
No.
Yeah, it's only happened to me once. This is at Lansford Canal State Park. It separates Chester and Lancaster County. It's about an hour north of Columbia. I spent a lot of time out here in the 90s, still get up there sometimes. This is where the world's largest concentration of rocky shoal spider lilies bloom in May.
Okay.
It's an incredible, you might enjoy taking your family sometime. It's just, the river looks like snow. These things, we have a few here in Columbia, but there's just tens of thousands of these things come out on the river in the spring, in May and early June. But I love this place, and I got to know the superintendent there. His name is Al James, really smart guy, really knows animals. And I dreamed about this picture. I've been spending so much time out there. I dreamed about the fog and just the tree on the left. I saw it in a dream, and he had told me about this skeleton he had of an osprey. And this lady in the area had gone down to Myrtle Beach and found these bones, and she brought it back to him just in a bag, and without any kind of instructions, he glued it back together.
Oh, wow.
He basically put it together. And he's just a fascinating guy, what he knows about animals and nature. Really neat guy. And was able to market this a few years later to PRT. They used it a couple of times in the state park. The Lansford Canal State Park used it, so I was able to get some usage out of it. But
nice.
Sometimes it's fun just to go out and do something because you want to go do it, not necessarily because you're getting paid to do it.
Right. That's really cool. That's a beautiful shot. We got some history here.
Yeah, this was fun. This was when I was working in the governor's office as a photographer, and they had finally found the Hunley submarine that sat at the bottom of the ocean for over 100 years in the Charleston harbor. And we waited and waited that morning for this thing to come out. And Jeff, to give you a perspective, okay, do you see the boat over to the right, underneath the right side of the Hunley?
Mm-hmm.
It's got a lot of people. If you look close, you can see a lot of people there.
Yeah.
That's the media boat with all the photographers and writers that were there, that they had a boat of their own that day just to cover the Hunley. And then I was on the boat with the governors, like a 2-level boat, a fairly large boat. Well, they goofed. We were supposed to be out there where the media boat is, about 100 yards out, and they were supposed to be really close where we are. And you could almost hear the photographers cussing from having to be so far out like
I'm
that.
sure.
And but this is to give you a sense of how close we are. This is full frame with a 24 millimeter.
Oh, wow. Yeah.
We're just you can almost reach out and touch it. But that was just a fascinating thing. And you see, if you look closely on the left along the horizon, you see all those boats. There were probably, I would say, 300 or 400 boats.
Oh, wow.
And they all clapped and did air horns, and they were singing songs. It was a really just cool thing to be out. It's probably about a 10 or 15-minute boat ride, from downtown Charleston out in the harbor there.
Yeah.
But there was a lot they had to do. There's some if anybody wants to watch, there's a documentary, I think you probably watch it on YouTube or stream it, about how they did this. And that was just a lot of fun in South Carolina history that day.
Yeah. Were they maneuvering to put the Hunley on that barge, or were they what were they doing with it?
Yes. Yeah. And you can see the straps, the reason it took so long, they had to run those straps underneath the Hunley. So between the Hunley and the floor of the ocean, they had to take those straps and run them, and they had to be so careful because anything goes wrong, it could just, it'd been in the ocean for 100 years. It could just literally fall apart.
Right.
Yeah. They're putting it on that platform there.
Wow. That's fascinating. This is a really beautiful black and white photo. What's going on here?
This is a special picture for me. This is the mill, Springs Cotton Mill in my hometown in Lancaster. It kind of was the driving force for the economy in the city for years. And these are the final days of it being in existence before they tore it down. They gave a media tour. I shot this for a newspaper, and we went around and photographed a lot of the scenes and just what it looked like. They said, listen, this will be the last opportunity that it looks like it does. So did about an hour-long tour, and there's this moment where I looked out and saw the mill there, just kind of reflecting, and that was a really special day. My great-grandparents worked there. My grandparents worked there. There's a lot of family history, and back in the day, if you needed a job, you could go to the mill and get a job. It was pretty easy to get one, and it was almost a city into itself. It really was. Just there were several thousand people employed there. At one point, it was the world's largest cotton mill.
Oh wow, that's really neat. It's beautiful the way the dirty window is framing it and everything. That's really cool.
Yeah, the media relations guy started fussing at me a little bit. He said, I see what you're trying to do. You're trying to make us look bad. I said, no, the texture is wonderful.
Oh, yeah. Just says history.
I know when I showed it to him, he got it. The light bulb, when I showed it to him later, and he said, oh, okay, I see it. You know, he thought we were trying to make it look bad.
Right. All right. So we got a child reading a comic book. What's going on here?
Yeah, this is my son, Hunter.
Okay.
Just like my dad photographed me so much, I've photographed him just thousands of times. And this is his first time reading a Spider-Man comic I got for him. And that's his favorite superhero now. He loves Spider-Man. Mm-hmm. Just a fun moment of him reading late at night there, checking out the Spider-Man comic for the first time. That's awesome.
Oh, yeah. I love the light.
Oh, thank you. Yeah, he's great about a camera, too. He's like Coach Staley. He's used to him now.
Yeah, my girls are, too.
Absolutely. I bet they are. I bet you've photographed them a lot.
Oh, yeah. Yeah. Here we go. We got 2 lions. Is that right?
Yeah, everybody got excited about the new lion cubs a few years back. Everybody wanted to go out and see them. I got an assignment to go shoot it. And
is that Riverbank Zoo?
This is Riverbank Zoo in Columbia. And this is a moment, if you look closely, the cub had just been playing with his dad. They just kind of learning, okay, how do I do this? How can I play with my dad? And then the dad was being great. They were just playing and kind of messing around. But then the cub reached up, not realizing it, and grabbed his dad's male parts.
Oh, no. That'll get a reaction.
Daddy is not too happy about this. Right. And he's still got his paw. He literally still has his paw up there. And his dad it was the loudest roar I've ever heard. He just did not like his little boy grabbing his male parts there.
Oh my gosh.
Moment there.
That's funny. This is cool. So is that what's going on here?
Yeah, this is another one I love because it's just in the region where I grew up. I grew up in Lancaster County, which is also close to York.
Yeah, a lot of Native American culture.
Yeah, a lot of the Catawba Indian Nation lives right mostly on the York County side of the river there on a reservation, and this is one of their festivals. And just went to and slowed the camera down. I think this was maybe like at a 1/8 or a 15th of a second shutter speed. I remember something along those lines with a 300 millimeter.
Yeah,
it just was nice to come away with something like that.
Yeah, I love the motion and the clean black background and everything. Really adds a lot to it.
Oh, thank you.
Yeah. All right, what do we got going on here?
These are some friends of ours we met here in Columbia. This is Will and Deb. And they are fascinating. They grew up in the Cayman Islands. They came here to study at Columbia International University and became missionaries. Did that for a while, and they're back in Cayman. And this is Deb. This is his wife. She just went down 20 feet and killed a lionfish. With her spear. You see Will's into that. Will is on the boat, getting everything ready. He's just an amazing fisherman. It's unreal to watch him do his thing. But this is just a fun family. Not everything has to be for work. You know that. Yeah. They used to do a lot just for fun, but we ate the fish that night. We got the lionfish. And,
oh, nice! Is it a tasty fish?
Oh, it's great. Will, he can catch these great fish. He knows how to cook them. It's just incredible. The problem they've got in Cayman is these lionfish reproduce at such a fast rate. You can get a license, similar to the way you do for deer hunting in South Carolina. You get a license, and it's kind of they control it, but you get your license, and they want you to go down and kill these things. There's just too many of them.
Yeah.
and they're poisonous. They can really put a hurting on you.
Oh, really?
They can really. I mean, they'll put you in the hospital. But she's been doing that her whole life.
Yeah.
So,
are you in the water as well with the underwater housing, or?
Yeah, I'm in the water. I think I shot this with a GoPro.
Okay.
Because I went down, I did the video. The video's fun. You go down, you hear that little sound of the spear hitting the lionfish there. But I came up and just did a quick still of her fish there.
Nice. That's really cool. You got, let's see, where did I put them? There we go. You sent some really cool, I'd never seen anyone do this before, where you took some football photos and basketball photos and you incorporated them into the TV feed. So let's take a look at this first one. This is a Gamecocks football here.
Great job. He got the hand, literally the hand off the defender. Here's Bentley. Back to work. Wants to throw. It's in some trouble. Looks left side. Throws late. Lobs it up for Debo. Did he get the foot down?
So we got is that Debo one-handed catch?
Carolina.
Yeah, that's Debo Samuel. And you'll see the still. You see the same play, but you'll see the still here.
Literally the hand off the defender. Here's Bentley. Back to work. Wants to throw. It's in some trouble. Looks left side. Throws late. Lobs it up for Debo. Did he get the foot down? Yes, he did.
So were you in the student section there, or that's the other end actually?
Debo Samuel.
Yeah, I'm in the stands there. Yeah, I'm about maybe 5 rows up over to the right, and a really nice family let me come in. They had a space that they could sit here for a few minutes, see if I can get anything. And then the second play was that I lucked out with that one and got that shot, just trying to get something different.
Yeah, that's peak action right there. How far are you cropped in? Is this with the 300?
That is with that's a 70 to 200, probably on 200 millimeter, and that's cropped in a good bit. I got his full body. I did one where there's a sequence. You can see this, but the one where I cropped in real tight.
Nice. That's really cool. That's peak action right there, right on the fingertips. All right, got another Carolina Clemson here.
Shamir Jeffrey in a ball game as well.
This is Debo's first collegiate touchdown.
Right side, Debo one-handed. Caught. Touchdown Carolina. Touchdown Debo Samuel. The first of his career. This was.
Oh, that's cool. So it looks like you're in a high position again. Are you in the stands?
Yeah, this one I'm in the upper deck with a 400 millimeter. And this is another one I've tried for years. I just kind of said, gosh, I wish we could get one where the ball comes in and then the player's looking up at, mentioned before, sometimes you have to just keep doing these things over and over, and it never happens the first time.
Right.
If it does happen the first time, then I go out and buy lottery tickets.
Right.
That's right. But yeah, that was a fun moment to finally get this shot.
Yeah, that's beautiful. Yeah, it's a great shot. Yeah, these are cool. I like how you did this. All right, so we got Steve Garcia at quarterback.
At South Carolina, these are his first snaps at quarterback.
Yeah, and Stephon Gilmore is up in the Wildcat. He's lined up as a quarterback. He's going to throw Alshon Jeffrey.
Alshon.
Inside the 10.
He was a lot of fun to photograph.
But he has started at the corner
What was that?
position since
I said Alshon was a lot of fun to photograph.
Oh my
God,
his
yeah.
first snaps at quarterback.
He's known for these acrobatic catches.
Wants the bomb for Jeffrey.
Nice. So that's pretty. You could tell you're using the 400 there with how beautiful the background is.
Yeah, and these are fun. I call these emotion freeze, and you get to see that contrast between what TV and stills do. And I have so much respect for these TV guys and these guys in the production show.
Oh, yeah.
It is fascinating what they do. It's so seamless, and it all comes off so well. And I love that, TV is saying, as a viewer, they're saying to you, listen, we're going to put you in the best spot right above the action.
Mm-hmm.
And then, okay, the play's over. We're going to invite you down now to see some different angles and slow it down. And now, okay, they're about to snap the ball again. We're going to put you back in the seats.
Right.
And then with what, this, we're trying to find that one moment that tells the story. And that's what I love about it. Mm-hmm. And our you can see how wide the shots are with TV, but with ours, we're trying to get the viewer really close to the action.
Yep. That's very cool.
He's got it inside the 10.
Nice.
Down to the 8-yard line.
2 big free throws for the team.
All right, we got basketball here. Duke, Louisville.
Take it to the rim.
Yeah, this is a Cameron
Jones
indoor.
turned it over.
And you'll see a dunk.
Is Williams, and Louisville's going to win it here at Cameron. Jones turned it over. Ahead of the pack is Williams.
Nice. So he's coming down the court. What are you thinking? You're shooting this with a wide rather than a 70-200. Was that a choice, or was that just what you happen to have in your hand?
Yeah, I tried some wider stuff. For this game, I'm shooting more horizontal and then sometimes a little wide. Because what I'm doing there, I'm shooting for ESPN. And Jeff, I know you've shot sports a long time, and it's rare for me to get anxious or nervous, even in overtimes, because you and I have done it for so long. We just know if we do our thing, everything's going to be fine. We'll get it. This is one of the rare times I get a little nervous, honestly, because what I'm doing here is I'm shooting these pictures and then transmitting them from camera so that they can show them when they go to commercial break.
Oh, wow.
And it is tense. I mean, I get there like the morning of the game. That game was at night. I got there early that morning, and I work with the Duke IT guys and the ESPN IT guys and another technician. We do all kinds of tests because they want this to work seamlessly. It's all got to work exactly right. There's all kinds of backups. I've got an Ethernet cable coming to my camera, and that's how I'm sending these pictures. So I'm shooting the picture. When I press that protect button on the camera, it sends it to the production truck. There's a guy in there, and he's lining up those 2 or 3 shots so that as they go to break, you hear someone like Jay Billis say, and Duke just went up 2 on Louisville. Can Louisville bounce back, or can they make a shot? And then they show a quick video, like in slow motion while Jay Billis is talking. And then they'll show those 2 or 3 stills, and then they fade to commercial.
That's cool.
It's nerve wracking. I'm not gonna lie. You want that it works. I mean, they get it right. Everything's done the right way. You've got dedicated Ethernet cable, and that cable is running about 400 feet out to the production truck, and it's all done first class. And it makes my job a little bit easier so that I don't pass out from doing this.
Right.
So, but it's just crazy. But it's fun to watch. Like you can come back later and watch. You can see how they used them. They used probably maybe 5 or 6 images during the broadcast that night. So when they went to commercial, they were showing those still images.
That's really cool.
And Louisville's going to win it here at Cameron.
All right, we got another. This is Carolina Vandy. I think this might be the one I see you.
5-man front. Here comes Debo in motion. Sweep, speed sweep, got a blocker. Kind for the pylon.
Yep, there you are in the khaki shorts and the red hat.
Touchdown, Carolina.
Switching from 70-200 to a wide angle.
Blocker. Kind for the pylon.
Nice. Yeah, just crossing the goal line with the ball. So were you originally shooting with a long lens when this play started, and then you switched to your 70-200? How did that work?
Yes. Yeah, I was I had the 400, and then when I saw the handoff, pulled up the 70-200 to shoot the shot here. And then as he came over closer, I reached out for the wide angle lens.
Mm-hmm. Nice. Do you ever get tied up to where you're kind of in between? You're switching from the 400 to the 70-200, and you miss the play completely? Because that happens to me.
Yeah, sometimes sometimes you can misjudge it. That happens on trick plays.
Mm-hmm.
Because if they run some kind of crazy reverse, because you're on it with a 400. The running back's coming your way for a second. Wait a minute, he hands off. They run a reverse. That really you have to really think quickly about what you want to do. And for me, like if they do that, I default to the 70-200.
Yeah.
At least you're going to get it with that. But I try to stay on it as tight as I can for as long as I can until those crazy trick plays happen.
Right. Yeah, that's really cool. There you are. If anyone can see, you're the guy here in the red hat and the khaki shorts. Did you get anything good with the wide angle when he's right in front of you?
Carolina! Touchdown, Debo!
I can't remember. I think he turned away from him. I don't think I got anything all that great with the wide.
Yeah, that happens. That's really cool. Well, Travis, I really appreciate your time. You got some amazing work. So thank you so much for being on the Underexposed podcast, and have a great day.
Oh, thank you. I'm looking forward. I'll be checking out all these podcasts. I'm excited about what you're doing here.
Yeah. No problem. I appreciate you.